Hello students, this is Girijesh Kumar Mal, lecturer in English in Sri Gandhi Vidyalaya Inter College, Basharawa, Raebareli. Dear students, can you think of any scientist who have also been a statesman? Yes, he is Dr. Abdul Kalam, who was an Indian scientist and administrator who served as the 11th President of India from 2002 to 2007. He was born and raised in Rameswaram, Tamil Nadu. He is popularly known as the Missile Man of India for his work. Today, we are going to study about his childhood in an extract from his biography, Wings of Fire. APJ Kalam talks about his upbringing, his parents and siblings. In it, he tells us about his friends and all those things that influenced his childhood. So, if you are ready, let us start the topic. I was born into a middle class Tamil family in the island town of Rameswaram in the erstwhile Madras state. Erstwhile, it means farmer. Here, actually, Abdul Kalam says that he was born into a middle class Tamil family and his place of birth, Rameswaram, is an island town in the state of Tamil Nadu in the Bay of Bengal. You can see in the map that here it is his birthplace. Today we know this state as Tamil Nadu, but when he was born, at that time the state was known as Madras state. He further says, my father Jainulabdin had neither much formal education nor much wealth. Despite these disadvantages, he possessed great innate means hota inborn wisdom and a true generosity of spirit. Actually, Kalam's father's name was Jainulabdin. Kalam says that his father was not very rich. He did not have much wealth also. He was not highly educated, but despite these disadvantages, he had some other qualities. He was naturally very wise and was very generous too. He had an ideal helpmate in my mother, Ashiyamma. I do not recall the exact number of people she fed every day, but I am quite certain that far more outsiders ate with us than all the members of our own family put together. Actually, Kalam's mother's name was Asiyamma. She used to help his father. She was a great support and help to him. Kalam's mother was also generous and kind-hearted lady. Every day she used to feed a lot of people. She fed a greater number of people from outside than the total number of the members in our family. Come to the next paragraph. I was one of many children, a short boy with rather undistinguished, it means ordinary, common looks, born to tall and handsome parents. Actually, Abdul Kalam had many siblings, and he describes himself that he had short height in comparison of his brothers and sisters and common looks. He did not have any exceptional looks. On the contrary, his parents were very tall and handsome. They were good looking also. But Kalam did not inherit their physical qualities within him. He further says that we lived in our ancestral house, which was built in the middle of the 19th century. It was a fairly large Pakka house made of limestone and brick on the Mosque Street in Rameshwaram. Actually, Kalam says that his ancestral house was very old. It was built in 19th century and it was a Pakka house which was made of bricks and limestone. It was located on the Mosque Street in Rameshwaram. He further says, my austere father, austere means simple but strict, used to avoid all inessential comfort and luxuries. However, all necessities were provided for in terms of food, medicine and clothes. Actually, Kalam's father was very simple, but he was strict also. He wanted to live his life in a simple way, and he used to teach his children not to waste money on unnecessary things. Kalam says that his father used to avoid any kind of inessential comfort and luxuries. He provided them all the necessary things like food, clothes and medicines. In fact, I would say mine was a very secure it means safe, childhood, both materially means economically and emotionally. Emotionally, it means in terms of love and affection. Kalam says that his parents fulfilled all his needs, whether it was any tangible things or their love and affections. This shows that he has the quality of gratitude. Kalam is thankful to his parents for whatever they did for him. Now come to the next paragraph. The Second World War broke out in 1939. When I was 8 years old, for reasons I have never been able to understand, a sudden demand of tamarind seeds erupted in the market. Tamarind seeds. Actually, tamarinds is one kind of fruit. You can see the picture of tamarind seeds on the screen. He says, I used to collect the seeds and sell them to a provision shop on Mosque Street. A day's collection would fetch me the princely sum of 1 anna. Anna is not age, it was at the time in Indian coin, which was just equal to 6 paise, near about 6 paise, and princely sum, it means grand amount. Actually, APJ was 8 years old when the Second World War broke in the year 1939. So we can calculate that he was born in the year 1931, because the second world war was broke in 1939, and at the time he was 8 years old. So when he was born, he was born in 1931. The demand of tamarind seeds increased in the market. Kalam used to collect and sell the tamarind seeds to a provision shop located on the Mosque Street. He would earn a mere sum of 1 anna, which equals near about 6 paise. When he addresses it as a princely sum, something very great and valuable, he is being ironic, as the amount was very much. At that time, this 1 anna meant a lot of money to him. Now come to the next paragraph. He says that my brother-in-law Jalaluddin would tell me stories about the war, which I would later attempt to trace. To trace, it means to search in the headlines in Dinamani. Actually, Dinamani was a Tamil daily newspaper. Here, Kalam says that his brother-in-law Jalaluddin used to tell him the stories of the ongoing world war. Later, Kalam used to read the newspaper Dinamani and used to look for the news of the same stories in that newspaper. Our area being isolated means cut off. Isolated was completely unaffected by the war. But soon India was forced to join the Allied forces. The Allied forces, it means the armies of United Kingdom, the armies of United States of America, the armies of Russia during the Second World War. And something like a state of emergency was declared. Actually, Rameswaram was a small island town far away from land, so it was not affected by the World War in the beginning, but after some time India had to join the war and combined with the Allied forces. Then the state of emergency was declared in the country. Actually, during emergency, the president's rule is implemented in the country. It is just like a curfew in the country. A lot of privileges which are given to the people are withdrawn at the time of emergency. The first casualty, it means loss, came in the form of the suspension of the train halt at the Rameswaram station. Actually, the first impact of World War II on the people of Rameswaram was the cancellation of the train stoppage at the Rameswaram station. Earlier, the train, you can see in the map, earlier the train which came from India used to stop at Rameswaram station and then went further to Dhanushkodi here. But now the halt was cancelled and the train went from India to Dhanushkodi without stopping at Rameswaram station. It means the train went from India to Dhanushkodi directly without stopping Rameswaram. No doubt the route was same, but the train did not stop there. Okay, now come to the next paragraph. The newspapers now had to be bundled and thrown out from the moving train on the Rameshwaram road between Rameshwaram and Dhanushkodi. Actually, due to cancellation, here Kalam says that due to cancellation of halt, the newspaper bundle which used to come for Rameshwaram was thrown out of the moving train as it reached Rameshwaram road, because there was no any halt at Rameshwaram station. That is why the bundle of newspaper was thrown out of the moving train. Then that forced my cousin Samshuddin, who disturbed that forced my cousin Shamsuddin, who distributed newspapers in Rameshwaram, to look for a helping hand to catch the bundles, and as if naturally I filled the slot. Filled the slot, it means fit into a place easily. Shamsuddin helped me earn my first wages. Actually, Kalam's cousin Shamsuddin used to distribute the newspapers in Rameshwaram. As the train stoppage was cancelled and the newspaper bundle was thrown out of the moving train, he needed someone to help him catch the bundle. Kalam helped Shamsuddin by catching the bundle and distributing the newspaper. In return, Shamsuddin paid him a salary which was Kalam's first earning. He says first wages, it means first earning. Half a century later, I can still feel the surge of pride, sudden feeling of satisfaction in earning my own money for the first time. Half a century, it means a period of 50 years. Half a century later means after a period of 50 years. Actually, this incident happened 50 years ago. Even now, that is, when he wrote the book, he could feel satisfied and proud of himself. Kalam says that whenever someone earns his own money with his hard work, he feels it the same way as he did at that time. Every child is born with some inherited characteristics into a specific socio-economic means in terms of money, social and economic and emotional environment, and trained in certain ways by figures of authority. By figures of authority, it means a person who has authority over another person, a person who has the power to give orders or make decision. He says, I inherited honesty and self-discipline. This is an important point. You have to keep it in your mind. I inherited honesty and self-discipline from my father. From my mother, I inherited faith in goodness and deep kindness. And so did my 3 brothers and sisters. 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 3 broth Actually, for a child, the figure of authority is his parents, and the next figure of authority can be his teacher, a person who has authority over the child. Kalam is saying that whenever a child is born, he has some qualities which he acquires from the elders in his family. These depends upon the social status of the family and the environment at home. From his father, he inherited honesty and self-discipline. And from his mother, he inherited faith in goodness and deep kindness. And his siblings also inherited these qualities from their parents. Come to the next paragraph. I had 3 closed friends. I had 3 close friends in my childhood. Who are they? Ramananda Sastri, Aravindan, and Shiv Prakashan. All these boys were from orthodox Hindu Brahmin families. Orthodox, it means very strict follower. Actually, Kalam had 3 best friends during his childhood. Their names are Ramananda Sastri, Aravindan, and Shiv Prakashan. All of them belong to a very strict Hindu Brahmin families and were ardent followers of their religion. He further says, as children, none of us ever felt any difference amongst ourselves because of our religious differences and upbringing. In fact, Ramananda Sastri was the son of Pakshi Lakshman Sastri, the high priest of the Rameshwaram temple. Actually, Kalam was from Muslim family. He says that during his childhood, all the children were so close to each other that they never felt they belonged to different religion. Religion was not a barrier in their friendship. There is a very famous temple in Rameshwaram, the Rameshwaram temple, and Kalam's best friend Ramananda Sastri was the son of Pakshi Lakshman Sastri, who was the priest in that very temple. Now, come to the next paragraph. Later, he took over the priesthood of the Rameshwaram temple from his father. Aravindan went into the business of arranging transport for visiting pilgrims, and Shiv Prakashan became a catering contractor for the Southern Railways. Actually, when these 3 friends grew up, Ramananda Sastri took the priesthood of the Rameshwaram temple, whereas Aravindan started a business of transporting the pilgrims from Rameshwaram temple to Rameshwaram, and Shiv Prakashan became a catering contractor for the Southern Railway. He was in charge of the catering for the railways. During the annual Sri Sitharam Kalyanam Ceremony, our family used to arrange boats with a special platform for carrying idols of the Lord from the temple to the marriage site, situated in the middle of the pond called Ram Tirth, which was near our house. Here, Kalam says that कि Ram Kalyanam ceremony is known as Kalyanotsav. It means marriage festival. In South India, marriage is known as Kalyanam. So, Lord Ram and Sita's marriage is called Sita Ram Kalyanam ceremony. It is the ceremony of the depiction of marriage between Sita and Ram. Kalam says that whenever the Sri Sita Ram Kalyanam ceremony used to take place, they used to arrange the boat for it. They used to make a special platform on the boats on which the statue of Ram and Sita were placed and transported from the temple to the marriage site, which was in the middle of a pond named Ram Tirth. This pond was near Kalam's house. When he was growing up, he never thought that there was any difference between Hindus and Muslims as they participated in the Hindu festivals wholeheartedly. Just like this picture. Now, come to the next paragraph. Event from the Ramayana and from the life of the prophet were the bedtime stories my mother and grandmother would tell the children in our family. Here, Kalam says that they listened to stories from Ramayana and the life of prophet from their mother and grandmother as bedtime stories. So they listened to stories of both Hindus god and Muslim gods. There was no differentiation on the ground of religion. He further says, one day when I was in the 5th standard at the Rameshwaram elementary school, a new teacher came to our class. I used to wear a cap which marked me as a Muslim, and I always sat in the front row next to Ramananda Sastri, who wore the secret thread, just which is known as Janeau in Hindi. Actually, Kalam belonged to a Muslim family. He used to wear a cap on his head, which identified him as a Muslim. His friend Ramananda Sastri, who was the son of the priest of Rameshwaram temple, belonged to a Hindu Brahmin family and used to wear the secret thread worn by Brahmins. When these children were in class 5th, a new teacher came to their class. Actually, Kalam recalls an incident which happened then. What incident happened? The new teacher could not stomach, it means could not tolerate a Hindu priest's son sitting with a Muslim boy. In accordance with our social ranking, as the new teacher saw it, I was asked to go and sit on the back bench. I felt very sad. And so did Ramananda Sastri also. He looked utterly downcast, it means sad or depressed, as I shifted to my seat in the last row. The image of him weeping when I shifted to the last row left a lasting impression. Impression, it means impact on me. Actually, Kalam says that this new teacher could not tolerate that a Hindu priest's son was sitting next to a Muslim boy. He told Kalam to go and sit on the last bench, as he belonged to a lower rank of a society. both the children felt very bad. Both the children, it means Kalam and Ramanand Sastri. When Kalam changed his seat and went back and sat on the last bench, Ramananda felt very bad. Kalam still remembers the image of his friends Ramananda crying at that time. It left a lifelong impression on Kalam of his friends' feelings for him. Now come to the next paragraph. After school, after school, we went home and told our respective parents about the incident. Lakshman Sastri summoned, it means called, the teacher, and in our presence told the teacher that he should not spread the poison of social inequality and communal intolerance in the minds of innocent children. He bluntly, it means directly, without any delay, asked the teacher to either apologize or quit the school and the island. Not only did the teacher regret his behavior, but the strong sense of conviction, it means belief, opinion, Lakshman Sastri conveyed ultimately reformed this young teacher. Actually, Ramananda's father, Lakshman Sastri, called the teacher and scolded him. Actually, after school, both friends, Ramananda Sastri and Kalam, went to their home and told this story to their respective parents. Then Ramananda's father, Lakshman Sastri, called the new teacher and scolded him. He told him not to kill the children's friendship by putting the venomous discrimination, you can say, of caste and religious into their innocent minds. Lakshman Sastri was very clear in himself. He told the teacher, what told? Either you ask sorry for the wrong you have done or else leave the school and Rameshwaram town also. The teacher asked sorry for the mistake he had done, and due to Lakshman Sastri's determination, his thoughts about religion and caste changed. On the whole, the small society of Rameshwaram was very rigid in terms of the segregation, it means separation of different social groups. However, my science teacher, Shiva Subramaniam Iyer, though an orthodox Brahmin, Kattar Brahmin, with a very conservative and traditional wife, was something of a rebel. He did his best to break social barriers so that people from varying backgrounds could mingle, interact with each other easily. He used to spend hours with me and would say, Kalam, I want you to develop so that you are on par with the highly educated people of the big cities. Actually, in Rameshwaram, the division of society, there was a division of society into four groups: Brahmins, Kshatriya, Vaisya, Sudras. And it was strictly followed in Rameshwaram. Abdul Kalam's Science teacher Shiva Subramaniam Iyer was a religious person, an orthodox Brahmin, but was a rebellious type of person. He did not believe in distinction on the basis of caste system. He worked very hard to break these social barriers. He wanted that people of different castes should interact with each other. He encouraged Kalam to work hard so that he could be at the same level as the highly educated people who lived in big cities. Then what happened? One day, he invited me to his home for the meal. His wife was horrified at the idea of a Muslim boy being invited to dine in her ritually pure kitchen. She refused to serve me in her kitchen. Shiva Subramaniam Iyer was not perturbed, it means upset, nor did he get angry with his wife, but instead served me with his own hands and sat down beside me to eat his meal. His wife watched us from behind the kitchen door. I wondered whether she had observed any difference in the way I ate rice, drank water, or cleaned the floor after the meal. Actually, Shiva Subramaniam Iyer's wife belonged to a traditional and orthodox Brahmin family. She followed the religion very strictly, and to keep the kitchen pure, no one from an inferior religion was allowed to enter the kitchen. When Shiva Subramaniam Iyer called Kalam for dinner at his home, his wife feared that a boy from a Muslim family would make her kitchen impure. She refused to serve him food in her kitchen. Shiva Subramaniam Iyer was neither upset nor angry. He himself served food to Kalam and sat down beside him to eat. His wife stood beside the kitchen door and looked at Kalam while he was having food. Kalam says that he doesn't think that she felt there was any difference in the way he was having his food, or the way he was drinking water, or in the way he cleaned the floor after the meal. He wants to highlight that religion does not matter, as it does not alter the way in which a person eats food. Come to the next paragraph. When I was leaving his house, Shiva Subramaniam Iyer invited me to join him for dinner again the next weekend. Observing my hesitation, doubt, he told me not to get upset, saying, once you decide to change the system, such problems have to be confronted. Confronted, it means faced. Actually, when Kalam was about to leave Shiva Subramaniam Iyer's house, he invited him for the dinner once again. When Shiva Subramaniam Iyer saw that Kalam was feeling hesitation, he asked him not to be upset. He added that if he had decided to change the system, to go against the norms of the society, he had to be strong and brave and confront the situation. When I visited his house the next week, Siva Subramaniam Iyer's wife took me inside her kitchen and served me food with her own hands. Then the Second World War was own hands. Come to these lines. When I visited his house the next week. Actually, when Kalam visited Subramaniam Iyer's house for dinner the next week, his wife made him sit in the kitchen just like this picture and served him food with her own hands. This is the change that happened to the first time and to the second time. Invitation. Then what happened? Then the Second World War was over and India's freedom was imminent about to happen. Indians will build their own India, declared Gandhiji. Actually, when the Second World War got over in year 1945, India was about to get freedom, which happened in the year 1947. Mahatma Gandhiji, known as the father of nation, was a crucial part of India's freedom struggle. He said that Indians would build their own India. The whole country was filled with an unprecedented optimism. The entire country was filled with hope and happiness. Everyone was experiencing such a feeling which they had never felt before. Everyone was hoping that now they would get their freedom. Kalam says that I asked my father for permission to leave Rameshwaram and study at the district headquarters in Ramnathpuram. He told me, as if thinking aloud, Abul, I know you have to go away to grow. Does the seagull not fly across the sun, alone and without a nest? Actually, Abdul Kalam asked his father to allow him to go to Ramnathpuram, which was the district headquarters for higher studies. Actually, seagull is a bird. In reply, his father told him that he knew that Kalam needed to go away so that he could move ahead in life. He gave the example of a seagull which flies away in the sky all alone and not have a nest. It means it does not have a home of its own, as it keeps on flying from one place to another. He quoted Khalil Gibran to my hesitant mother. Your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing desire for itself. They came through you, but not from you. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts. Actually, this quotation is taken from a famous poet Khalil Gibran's, and it is exported from the title of Khalil Gibran's poem your children. Actually, when Kalam's mother came to know that he was about to leave home and wanted to go to Ramnathpuram for higher studies, she got upset. Kalam's father tried to calm her down and told her a few lines from the famous poem entitled Your Children, written by Khalil Gibran. He said that your children are not your children. They are the children of life. Don't think that you can rule your children. They are a result of life's desire for itself. They have their own thoughts. He asked her to give them freedom to fulfill their thought. In this way, we have completed this chapter. Keep in your mind that the title of this very chapter, My Childhood, is an extract taken from the biography of Abdul Kalam, Wings of Fire. We learned that in his childhood he was greatly influenced by his parents, his teachers, and his friends. Abdul inherited honesty, simplicity, and self-discipline from his father and faith in goodness and deep kindness from his mother. Later on, he became a great scientist and also the 11th President of India. Just I have told you in the starting of this very chapter. And received several prestigious awards including Bharat Ratna. So dear students, I hope you enjoyed it and learned from it. I will see you in the next lecture. Thank you. Have a nice day.